All right, brother, we're rolling. Jared Doerfler, thanks for joining me, man. Founder of Hanna Golf. He's got some great momentum behind what he's doing. Just brought on a full-time employee, I just found out. So, dude, I'm pumped I came across what you're working on. And yeah, it's like an inspirational story, but it's kind of just getting started. So, looking forward to catching up with you, man.
Yeah, Joe, what's up, man? Excited to chat with you. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So, um, I was going to start and just get kind of the full background, but I was scrolling through the Instagram the other day of Hana, and you posted this cool post kind of about the story of where you were a couple years ago. Like what was it, 2023 maybe, when you got
Yeah,
it started. And it's got the cool background music going. It's got that ordinary song. So you're kind of looking at it, you're like, dude, this is a sweet story if you're just coming across it. Um Maybe just if we can just start there, like a couple years ago, you said I was down to 2,000 left in the bank account. Starting this has been the hardest thing I've ever done in my career, the ups and downs. So, man, it's kind of been a roller coaster for you so far, but building something sweet. So, yeah, that post kind of like what's going through your head, just kind of thinking about that and where you were a couple years ago.
yeah. Well, I mean, a year ago, like I was in a weird spot, to be honest with you. And I didn't think it was really going to work. And I'll give you just like a quick example. I over ordered way too much grip solvent. I ordered a case of grip solvent. It came in, and it's one of those small things where it's just like, your cup gets so full that it's a small thing, that a small drop of water that opens the dam. And I'm like, a case of grip solvent. I'm like, I'm never going to go through this. Like, I'm never going to run through a case of grip solvent. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. And, I just spent, $200 on the case of grip solvent when I should have spent 20 on one of them or whatever it was. And, yeah, I mean, a year ago, last April of 2024, was, trying to launch this thing. Um, I had just bought a new machine, a new CNC mill. So I had two of them at the time. I took out a loan to get the new one. And essentially, I was taking money out of my personal savings for 4 months, $3,000 a month to keep the thing alive before we launched. And yeah, I mean, I was down to $2,000, and I really didn't want to put another 3,000 in May of 24. And soft launched to some friends and family. And yeah, we've been alive since. And so it's been an incredible journey so far. I heard a really good quote the other day, and I think it's really true. With building a business or starting a business, I'm dumb, but I'm not stupid. Like, you have to be, I think, pretty dumb to start a business. Quit your job, start a business. Take out, invest tens of thousands, if not $100,000 into a business when you have no idea really what you're doing at the time. You have to be dumb. And I think that, I was naive and dumb in the process of starting this. But, I've said this before too, Joe. It's like, I don't think, I'm pretty certain that I would not have quit my job and started this knowing what I know now. But that's the beauty of just doing stuff. That's the beauty of figuring everything out. And so we're here now a year later and still alive. And I think we've got some good momentum going forward.
Love it, man. Love it. So you were a college golfer.
Mm.
Um, you wrapped up at UNI, if I'm not mistaken, and then you kind of put golf to the side for a while, right? You started working. You're like, I'm not really that. It just didn't really. It seemed like just from listening to other episodes, you kind of lost the love of it a little bit. Um, so where were you then? Like you were working, and then maybe if you could just share a little bit about how you got back into it and got that itch again. I
Yeah.
think that'd be cool.
Yeah. Very, very fortunate. And, it's honestly like the second best thing that ever happened to me was to play high level college golf. Call it what you want. Northern Iowa is a very mid major D1 school, but, it was my goal to play Division I golf, and we ended up getting there. And I had to walk on, and I'm not even sure it was like a legit walk on spot. I had nothing. But I had the ability to practice with the team and, prove my stripes. And, second tournament that I was there, I was able to qualify top five. And, I was able to stay in that top 5 mix, and for my career, which was, that's the thing I'm most proud of. But I loved my time at Northern Iowa. I mean, it's literally the second best thing that's ever happened to me in my life. And so, but with college sports, you become jaded. And so I think I played so well my first year there because I was, so excited and, had a lot of positivity. Over time, you become jaded with the grind, and you become a little bit negative and not as optimistic as you should be. And, I had some rough stretches, I think my junior year and then my senior year. I played actually, it's my best year, really until the last couple tournaments of my career. And I got Dairy Queened our very last tournament, Missouri Valley Conference Championship, signed the wrong scorecard. And I was kind of, ready to be done. Actually, before that conference championship, we played an Arkansas State tournament, and my dad came, and that's not easy to get to Jonesboro, Arkansas from Cedar Falls, Iowa. And so my dad, made the trip down, and I remember I just played terrible. I shot like a pair of 77s, something like that. And like at that moment, I knew it was over. Like I knew my college career was over. My dad got real emotional. It was a strange deal just because I didn't have it. And with conference coming up, like I didn't think I was even going to play. And so I ended up playing, and I actually played well outside of getting Dairy Queen. So after that, I'm jaded. I'm like, you know what? Like I'm just going to focus on my career and just, be done with golf and, put that chapter aside. And so, went into medical sales, and, for 7 years, I was in that side of the business, and, had a ton of luck, with, the companies that I worked for and the mentors that I had a lot of success. And, that was a great part of my life. And, allowed me to, I think, do something dumb like start a golf company because I worked so hard in my 20s and had some success. And so we had some money saved up to go out and buy some CNC mills and to start a golf company. So got back in, Joe. My wife and I were in Kansas City. We moved back to Iowa, and I had this high school buddy. He actually played D1 baseball as well. And he was a pitcher. And he's telling me, he's like, dude, I'm shooting like 71, 72, 73 out of the course. And I'm like, no chance. And I'm still competitive, and he's competitive. He's like, come out and play. So, I went out and played, and I was like, damn, I'm kind of having fun again. So the juices were back. My dad always told me that it would be back. They'd come back, just didn't know when. And it took me until about 30 for them to really get back. So it was about 8 years of just, I didn't really watch golf on TV. I didn't really play it. Except for bachelor parties. But going through that period, I think was healthy and good.
Dude, by the way, a pair of 77s, I would probably give a left foot or something like that to be able to shoot those towards the end of your career.
Super easy. Probably the easiest course that I had played in college. Like,
okay.
I mean, super easy. It was super easy. I mean,
I
think I may have beat there's probably a full field, so probably 15 teams or so. I think I maybe beat 10 guys. Like it was terrible.
Yeah. It's funny. It's all relative, I suppose. It's one of my regrets. I'm like, damn, I should have snuck into the Seton Hall golf room occasionally and took a couple swings. Be better off for it.
Seton Hall one time. It was fun.
Oh, did you?
With that at DePaul, I played with this lefty. Don't remember his name, but he was a good player. Yeah, a lot of fun playing with him.
Sweet, man. So, dude, I would love to hear kind of the quick story on your dad. I know you probably share it a lot on these podcasts, but I think that just from listening on other episodes, that kind of maybe shifted your perspective a little bit on time and just how finite it often is, and why you should maybe take that risk.
Mm-hmm.
Like, dude, I mean, like how many people take that actual risk? That's what I've said a few times on here, but I feel like that time period and just what happened there kind of shaped what you're doing now a little bit.
Yeah, it really kind of stems back to 2010. My dad and I went to the US Open at Pebble Beach, and we were out late on a Saturday, watching some of the guys finish up. And it's crazy how this actually, kind of winds up happening. But Graham McDowell hits a ball left. This is the year that he won, actually. So he hit a ball left, And so we were down in the fairway, and my dad tried to get out of the way, and he fell. And he's like, "That's weird." My dad is still is. He's super in shape. Always take care of his body. I mean, just a really good athlete. Strange deal. He thought didn't think too much of it, but thought that was strange. Like I didn't trip. I just fell. So 2 years later, he got diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. And MS it's a crummy disease because it treats everyone differently. Um, and so he did really well with the disease for like the first 4 years, I'd say. We were able to he was able to ride his bike across the state of Iowa, which is it's a fun little deal called rag ride. It's pretty cool. And then we were able to ski one last time. I'm glad I went. I didn't think I was going to go just with timing and how things lined up. But we were able to ski in Utah in 2015, and we lapped some green runs, and it was great. But since then, the disease has progressed quite a bit. He ended up retiring in 2023, and that hit me because here's a guy that worked extremely hard in his life, and basically everything he did, and now he's retired, and he can't really do the things that he loves to do. I mean, he was a huge golfer, a huge cyclist, a huge skier. And now, for him to ride a bike, he has to sit down and use hand pedals to ride his bike, and he can't golf. We played, I think, 3 holes, like 2 winters ago, and it's tough. And I was like, you know what, like we're not immortal. We think we are. I've always had the itch to do something, and so that kind of hit me. I don't want to fail at this. But I think for me to start this, my ego had to go like aside and say like failure is a possibility. And I rather fail than not try. And that's said a lot in life, but until you're actually in it and doing it, like it's so fulfilling from that standpoint. So I had to do something, and I had the itch to do something. We're only on this planet once. It's crazy the amount of people that we all know that something they have a life altering event, and we never know when that's going to happen. And I know it's one of those. It's so easy to say, but to take action, I mean, it's truly a freeing experience.
Dude, it really, yeah, it is. It's like something that I'm experiencing a little bit now, because I'm, like I told you, I've been doing this this will be episode, whatever, by the time it goes out, 68, 69, something like that. And, good job, fortunate to have all that. But there's kind of that itch to kind of pursue something else. And you're right, until that kind of smacks me in the face, which I'm fortunate I haven't had anything to that extent that's happened to me yet, right? With a family member or something. But until that actually happens, you're like, all right, you kind of just keep trucking along. And then a couple years go by, you're like, damn, that went quick. So it's
It's
kind of
crazy
crazy.
how
Yeah.
fast time goes. I mean,
Yeah.
I've been at this for almost 2 years, and it doesn't feel that long. But when you look at the progress,
Yeah.
I'm proud of how far we've come, but recognize, we still have a long way to go. And yeah,
Yep.
I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So the one thing I heard you say too is that kind of that I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Like, you're okay with not building this enormous business and making a ton of money out of it. How are you thinking about that? Because there's got to be something in the back of your head that's like, dude, this would be pretty cool if this blows up and I'm one of these bigger names in golf. You've already got a name for yourself, but I'm just curious to hear your perspective there.
I think you start with like step one, which is um, I've recognized. So it's a double edged sword. I recognize that money and things don't make me happy in life. They give you instant gratification, but over time, that's not the answer. And if I wanted to truly make money from a business, it would not be started in the golf space. Um, of course, I would like to make enough money to replace the income of my previous job. And we've got a long way to go to get there, like super long. Like I'm 2, 3, 4 years, I think. And so it'd be like 4 or 5 years in total, when we get there. But that's okay with me. Like I'm perfectly fine, making 100, 150 grand a year or whatever, doing something that I love and building a business. The goal is not to get rich. The goal is to, do something different, do something unique, be weird. And I think in a positive way. And, I'm perfectly comfortable doing that. And it's I think a little bit freeing as well. Challenging, but freeing.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. So I wanted to ask you too with the newsletter. So that's kind of an interesting story too. Um, but so you never really wrote before writing that, because that's something that I've come across a couple newsletters.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that's kind of been I don't want to call it a fad. That's been the hot thing the last couple of years, right? Like people online, you're writing online, but if you can get a follower base, which it seems like you've built up a pretty, like, how many subscribers do you have to that? What's it, Perfect Putt? Is that what it's called?
About 11,000,
11,000. That was just organic. You just
all
started
organic.
putting stuff out.
Yeah.
How did that? How did that happen? Did you just put it on Twitter and
Yeah. I mean,
everything?
you're
Or?
right. So newsletters, I got lucky. And here, let me explain this to you. I
Yeah.
guess newsletters and podcasts, there's so many of them now, and it's very noisy. I think I got lucky the time I started it. I think I started it probably a little earlier than the fad. And then I started it when golf got super hot. Like this is 2021. So like late 2021. And golf is just going crazy, really. And so I think I got lucky that I paired both those things up. But the genesis of the newsletter is I was finishing my MBA program and I had an elective to burn, so I took entrepreneurship and innovation. And the instructor, who's probably the best, maybe the best instructor that I had at the program, he's like, you all need to write online, and I'm like, hard no, not going to write online. I'm not kidding. Like I really struggled in college English my freshman year. Like I don't see myself as a good writer, but through the MBA program, I think I learned about effective writing tactics. And so in this class, um, I'm like, all right, like I'll think about it. Then he comes back and he's like, this is why you need to write online. You need to have something that's, that's going to hold you accountable, that you're going to be disciplined. And the one thing that really caught me, because I really not great at this, is you're going to have to take criticism from people that you don't know. And so I was like, okay, like I can kind of get into that, because if you think about it, anything that you read, Joe, Wall Street Journal, CNBC, ESPN, like there's very rare instances where the reader is going to agree with everything in that piece. And then if you have enough people that read it, there's a certain percentage they're going to let you know how they feel. And so it is the numbers game. And so I started this thing, after that. I had less than 100 followers on Twitter. I mean, it was a dead account. I fired that thing up and I just started tweeting about golf, and we grew that. So I mean, it took me a long time, 3 months to get 100 subscribers to that thing, but we had some good momentum, had lucky because there's a lot of things to write about. Now I write about the business side of golf, so it's easy. There's a lot of great things to break down that weren't being done. I mean, it just wasn't. There was a good void there, and so yeah, I mean, it was some slow growth, but it's been really fun to write. I love the people I've met through that, and it's been a great tool for me. I'm very fortunate.
That's cool, man. Yeah, it's a consistency too, because I've gone back and checking it out. It looked like you were putting one out every week for at
I
least a
pull it
couple of
out
years, right?
every week for a little over 2 years.
Nice.
And I stopped doing that in January, and I've tried to go monthly, and I've skipped 2 months already. Yeah, it's I'm burning the candle right now at both ends, and so we'll get back into a mix. I enjoy doing it. It's just, if I'm not going to do it like good, then I'm not going to do it at all. And so there's different sides of the coin with writing. Just put anything out, but I mean, when I write one piece, it's like 10 to 15 hours of research, and so I generally don't, I get after it. So I'm not going to just put out a piece that's like 30 minutes of research.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's not like you're spread that thin though. You have 3 kids. You're building a business.
Yeah. Exactly.
um, so how about the putters themselves? Like, just the process of making one of those putters. I think I heard you say what it could take like 5 or 6 hours. That may be inaccurate, but
Yeah.
like just actually building the putter. You taught yourself, how to use one of these CNC mills and everything. But what's it like? What's it like building a putter? I mean, there's got to be a lot of pride putting that out too, because it's literally you're building it with your own two hands. So
It is.
just what's that like? That's cool.
It's really cool seeing a putter come off the mill and putting it on the scale and then checking a few dimensions with a caliper to make sure everything's good and it's cool. So a putter, so our putters are made out of 303 stainless steel. So we order 72-inch in length blocks of stainless steel, and we cut those down then to 4-inch billets. So it's just a big block of stainless steel, weighs like 4 pounds. We have two CNC mills, so they're used for different operations. So to make a putter with a 3-axis mill like we have, we use 4 operations. If you have 4 or 5 axis, you'll probably be at 2 operations to get that done. But we have 4 operations to make a putter. And so the first operation is really where a lot of the damage is done. It's where the putter really gets shaped. And then, second operation for us is, inserting the hole in the line. Third is just blending the bottom a little bit. And fourth is milling the face, that face pattern, the loft, the face pattern, and blending that all together. And so if you were to take one putter and just do it from start to finish, it would be about 5-6 hours to get that done off a mill. We batch everything in 6. And so we mill 6 putters at once on our big machine. That takes anywhere from 12 to 18 hours, depending on the putter that goes in there. And then everything else, kind of follows after that on our other mill as well.
Nice, man. That's interesting. Putting is such an interesting thing. So
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to find a way to weave this in. So I texted one of my buddies, huge golfer. He's been a golfer for a while, and I was like, "Hey, I'm having this dude Jared on." Showed him what Hanna Golf is. He's like, "Oh man, this is pretty sweet." And one of the things he was saying that I should ask you is about the mental game of putting.
Oh.
So, like, shout out to my buddy Sam. How much of putting, in your opinion, is just the physical stroke? Like you get up there, you have the mechanics are there, whatnot, and then how much of it is like the mental side of it? Like you feel good, you step up to the. I hope I said that question right, by the way. But like, how much is the mental side? I mean, there's a lot that goes into it. So,
Yeah, I mean, like golf in general is just a mental game. It's 90% mental. I wasn't prepared for a question like this. This is a good one. Um, Putting, like putting is, in my opinion, if your mechanics are good and sound, then putting becomes about your line and reading greens and your confidence. When I putt the best, my confidence is usually pretty high that I'm going to hold that putt. And that goes with being, having a good mental game. If I've got a 4-footer downhill left to right and I'm not putting those well and I've already missed 2 that day, I'm probably going to unfortunately think about those. And that's where the mental side comes in. For me, honestly, I struggle on the mental side of the golf game off the tee really versus anything else. But,
really, okay.
Putting from
Why is that? Why do you? Yeah. Actually, sorry to cut you off. Keep going
No,
about
you're
putting.
fine. Off the tee, why do I struggle? Is because my accuracy is not great like it used to be. I'm not a talented golfer. Like I've got a lot of my old teammates that they won't play for in the winter, and they'll come out in the first round of the year and they'll shoot 67, 66 still. They're pure talent. For me to compete at a high level, I have to practice way more than that. And so I'm not as talented. And so I'm not practicing anymore. My dispersion pattern's bad. And so, for me, if I get the ball in the fairway off the tee, I'm going to play well that day. If I don't, then, I'm really going to struggle because I hit it offline. I can hit it offline a little bit.
Yeah. But then you're saying like on the when you're actually on the green, I mean, that that putter, how much do you think? I mean, it's a comfort level, and then obviously if you're comfortable, you can be confident. But like, have you gotten feedback from people on using your putter? Like that's got to be pretty awesome. If they're like,
We
hey
have
man, this
it's
this improved my confidence and how I'm actually putting with your putter. I don't
this
know. It's
we have
got to be full circle.
and this stuff honestly makes my day when we get it. But I had somebody send me a message last night. This person said, secondly, this has generally improved my putting coming from an old blade putter. Distance control, especially on slick downhill breaking putts, has been awesome. Then he just went on to say some nice things just about the putter and how well it's milled and the detail. And that's the stuff that I live for. That's the stuff that's gonna, keep us going and keep us grinding when we have a tough day. So I can't get enough of that. I always share it with Tyler, full-time Tyler, used to be intern Tyler, because, he's grinding as much as anybody. And so I always share the good stuff with him. And, just to keep, it's always good to have morale high. And so we like to have the vibes high in the shop with a lot of music and a lot of positivity. Hopefully the sunny out, so hopefully the shop door flies open here this afternoon and we can have a little fun.
Oh yeah, dude, that's awesome. I wanted to ask you, have you gotten in the hands of any pro guys at this point, or any guys that are on tour?
Yeah, I mean, yes,
Yeah.
but we have not been in a tournament yet. So,
Okay.
we were close this last fall, I think, and this spring. But I want to get there. I'm not sure we're ready for it yet. And here's what I mean by that. I'm not sure we're ready for the good and the bad that could come of that.
Mm.
Either way, and it goes both ways. And I'm not sure we're prepped to move as quickly as we need to support some guys. And so Joel Damon bought a putter from us last August, and Joel and I have traded messages the last couple of years on social media. Nothing important, but he's been a supporter of the Perfect Putt and whatever. Joel's, just a tremendous human being. And I texted his agent and I'm like, hey, I just want to let you know he bought a putter. And he's a huge supporter. He just, he loves to support and he's happy. Didn't think anything of it. And he sent me a message and he's like, hey, I just shot 60 with it. There's something to this thing. And so the problem is we hadn't sent it to USGA yet to see if it was conforming. This is something that I'll 99.9% sure it's going to be conforming, but didn't expect anyone to maybe try to play it at a high level. So we didn't do it. So that delayed us 4 weeks. And then, he was trying to keep his card. So brought it to the last 3 tournaments, didn't play it. We made 3 other models for him that we don't sell anywhere else. They're a prototype for him. In February, we sent him his way. He's brought those, but it's just one of those things. We need a little luck there. So, it's been a ton of fun working with him on it. I never thought we'd be in the position that we're in. He's taken it on YouTube videos and he's put it in commercials and done content with it online. And he's been very supportive in that sense, even though he's not playing it. Just a great dude, been very helpful. I would like to get there. I think we will get there. It's just we're not prepared. If he was to go out and play really well with it, we're not prepared for that. If he was to go out and to play really, really poorly with it, we're not prepared for that either. So we're just not there. It's not the right time for us yet. I think the right time will come, hopefully.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, can you imagine? Have you thought about that? If it, somebody on tour just absolutely crushes it, and whatever Jim Nance is announcing, and they zoom in on the putter, and it's like, hey man, this is this guy's story. Yeah. You really can't. You can't go that far out, but
I'm just trying to survive the day, Joe. We need to ship 4 putters this afternoon. I need to shaft 4, but occasionally, 5% of my thinking time, I do let myself dream, because if you're not dreaming, then there's no point in doing something like this.
For sure, man. Yep. Dude, that's awesome. I was also curious your interest in the business side. Like it seems like you've got the business acumen behind it as well. I don't know if that comes from your days in sales or just where that interest came from. But where does that derive from? And then like you probably learned so much just about the business of golf and business in general from being in the thick of this.
I think the business side really comes down from probably my dad. My dad worked too much, as a kid growing up. I mean, dinner table every night, dinner table every morning type of deal. And my mom would just drop me and my sisters off at his office like during the day some days, and I liked rolling around there. I thought it was fun. I was intrigued by it. So, I think that's just kind of like one of those things that interest me. And then I think that I've always been curious about business. Always curious, what makes the wheels spin, if you will. Understanding strategy. I really enjoy understanding distribution and stuff like that. So anyway, the newsletter I thought was a ton of fun to learn a lot about different things in the golf space, and then obviously starting a business, you learn a lot. Not really a lot of it's positive or good. You pay too much in taxes. And what I mean by that is, you have unemployment insurance. You pay you pay FICA for your employee. It's just all these things that you learn about workman's comp, all this stuff. It's just crazy how much money it actually takes to support a business, just outside of just raw materials. So yeah, I've been genuinely a curious person, sometimes to a fault, and so I'm always going to ask a few questions, if I can, to somebody that I respect, to try to learn something.
But you said that you you said you weren't sure if you would do this again.
Yeah,
I would
I'm not
I would
sure.
have to push back on you with that though, because I'd be like, yeah, I don't know, because then that goes against, knowing everything that you know now, yeah, right.
Every,
But
knowing
like you
everything
would
I know.
probably would have found something, yeah.
Yeah, like I'm coming off a battle with shingles that my face valiantly lost, because I was like, I had this thing going on my face, and I go to the doctor, and she's like, "You got shingles." I'm like, "That can't be true. I'm 36." Like, and she's like, "Oh, no, no, no. It happens to young people." And I'm like, "Okay." And I'm like, "What causes it?" She's like, "Chronic stress." And I'm like, "Yeah, I think back to it. It's like 90 straight, 87 out of the 90 days. I didn't know. I went back and look. I worked 87 out of 90 days. We bought another CNC mill. We did a really cool collab with Bridgestone. We did a limited release. We came out with a new product.
I saw that,
And
yeah.
in there, my son's in the hospital. My 8-month-old son's in the hospital for a week. So just trying to battle all this. And I let it get the best of me. And so it was a great learning experience, to be honest with you, Joe. I'm glad it happened, because I would have just kept running myself into the ground. But it's hard, man. Like, it's really, really hard to every business. I think is hard to start. When you have in the complexities that I was dumb enough to do, teach myself CAD, teach myself CAM, teach myself how to run CNC mills, teach myself how to hold parts. And then you add on top of that, I'm going to start a business, and it's just a dumb idea. Like, it's dumb. But I don't think I am stupid. It's silly to do. So I don't know if I stand by that. I don't know if I would, like, seriously. Like, I had a very good job before this. Like, there is
Mhm.
something about that, and that's why I sometimes like caution people if they want to go do their own thing. This because you can chase your dream, but maybe it's in doing something that's more fulfilling, work wise, where you're getting paid, or start a business. It's not as glamorous as a lot of people on social media make it out to be. And I think the people that I've learned this, like the people that you look up to and they're like, man, they've got it going on. They're dialed in. No, they're dealing with the same thing that we're dealing with, but they just handle it better. And so there's just a ton of stuff that's going to get thrown at your way that every day it's something with me, it's trying to manage a supply chain, and I don't
Yeah.
got head covers, or I'm not going to have shafts, or I don't have enough metal. Don't have end mills, it's always
Mhm.
something, but
Yeah, man. Yeah. Well, you pretty much just answered a question I was going to ask you to kind of wrap this up, is like advice that you might give to somebody that's that's trying to take that leap.
Mm.
It's like, hey, it's not all glamorous. Yeah, your logo's sweet. You got a sweet hat and all this stuff. You're making cool putters, but you don't see a lot what goes on behind the scenes. So
Yeah, I mean, it's cool. Like it is cool to do. It is pretty freaking cool. I will say
yeah,
that.
gotta get one of those hats. By the way, I'm gonna order one. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll do it. So advice. I mean, to be honest with you, I could receive more advice than I can give. So I guess everyone's different in what I've learned, and I guess I'll give the advice that I think worked for me is that um, I had to quit my job. Like I couldn't do this as a side deal because if I would have, Joe, this would have never started because it was too hard. I would have never pushed through. I would have just gone back to the safety net and the safety net of the job. So if I just bought a CNC mill, put it in my garage, did it nights and weekends when I had free time, there's no chance that I would have kept doing it. I would have just ended up selling that mill and kept working. By quitting, I gave myself an ultimatum. It's like, you have to figure it out. Like you have to find a way to get this, to figure this problem out. And so that is the best advice. You have to be, if you truly believe in something, you have to be all in and give it your best effort and give it your best attention.
Love that, man. That's awesome. Yeah, because you burn the boats, right? That's what they say.
Yeah.
Burn the boats and go all in.
You just have to.
So then you don't have a choice. Don't have a choice, man. All right, Jared. Man, thanks for coming on. This is cool, dude. I feel like I could ask you a lot more about just the putters themselves, and I'm curious about the distribution side of it. But maybe at some point we can link back up. I know you got a busy schedule here, man. So thank you. Where can people find you on Instagram, online, everything like that? They want to check out the putters.
Instagram and Twitter, we're at Hanna Golf CO, so at Hanna Golf Co. I just said my own company name wrong. At Hanna Golf Co. Happens every now and then.
Yeah.
And then and my personal Twitter is at Doerfler Jared. Our website's hannagolf.com, HANNA. So I named the company. I'm not very creative. I named the company after my two daughters. So my oldest daughter is named Johanna, and my youngest daughter is named Harriet. And so, Harriet, I can kind of lie to that it starts with an H. It's not really her. It's more Johanna. But I can at least lie to her, and she'll believe it. She's a great kid. But anyway, so it's hannagolf.com is where you can find us.
Sweet, dude. Yeah, Hanna. I know. I would not have known that had I not listened to other pods you were on. And the story, not to keep going here, but the story of your the putters are named after your grandfather, right? Isn't that
An
yeah?
absolute
So you just
an absolute legend.
weaved it all in, man. You got it all.
My granddad, what a man he was. Like so many in his generation. If we can just create more of those people in the world and from that generation, we're going to be in a good spot. But a lot of sacrifice. The main thing with that generation is they were very single-handedly missioned. They have all these distractions that we have today. All the stress that we have today is, I think a lot of it's self-induced. And so, what a great man, tremendous man. Yeah.
Love it, man. Awesome. All right, Jared. Thanks again, brother. Looking forward to for people to listen to this. I think it's just it's an awesome story, and maybe somebody, I don't know, maybe somebody will get the push to go, or they'll hear you. They'll be like, "No, it's pretty hard," but either way, pretty sweet, dude.
Yeah.
All right, man.